You've talked a lot about guys that stick around and develop year by year.
Yeah.
Martinelli is, he became a big-time player last year, but how has he evolved for them this season?
Yeah, very unique player. You know, he's got good size, but just his ability to kind of get to his sweet spots in terms of shooting his pull-up, shooting his runner, shooting his floater to get to his right shoulder. You know, he's been much better going the other way. He if you watch him and you really study him, he like things that look out of rhythm for most isn't out of rhythm for him. Like he has his comfort spots in terms of like a quick shot, dribble into a shot. He's better, in my opinion, in terms of just more being fluid in terms of his perimeter shooting. Like you can see like his sigma, his catch and shoot threes. He just looks more comfortable to me. But he's a really tough cover. You know, he's very compared to other people, he's very unorthodox. So you got to be able to study him and understand, you know, how deep he gets the basketball. When he gets angles, he's very dangerous. You know, when he gets angles of driving, especially from the top, because now you have a little bit more space, you know, in those areas. So it's not one of those things where it's the guy guarding him. It's 5 people being aware. And when he's doing that and he's passing the basketball and making the right decision, you know, he can set up a lot of his teammates also.
You kind of deconstruct some of the inconsistencies we talked about after the Ohio State game, especially defensively. Where do you start?
Yeah, I think it starts with on the basketball. You know, I know it starts on the basketball. You just can't, you know, let the ball be in the paint and live in the paint. Like, you've got to be able to draw a line in the sand and move your feet and keep the ball out of the paint. And you know, like when you get into rotations, that becomes harder. But when you're not in rotations, that's when you have to do a much better job. And it's not always like you have built-in help, and you know that help can be there, but the help can't always be there, especially when you're dealing with Bruce Thornton or you're dealing with John Mobley and their range and their ability to play make. Well, if neither one of them have the basketball and now somebody else is driving it, man, it really puts you, because they stretch out and the three-pointers mean so much, they really stretch you out, and you got to do a better job of keeping it there. And so we've done different stuff in ball screen defense because of that. You know, just like, you know, we've been more aggressive in our ball screen defense because we don't want to be in a drop all the time where they're just getting in the paint, living in the paint. And now when those things happen, and now our rebound balance isn't great. So we've tried to make adjustments throughout the year and really try to push that ball out. But to me, it starts with, you know, guarding the basketball and, you know, having some pride in keeping the ball in front of you.
You started the game pretty good defensively. Is there a connection between Oscar having energy to start games and you guys being pretty good defensively?
Yeah, you know, he's a guy that, you know, about 4 to 5 minutes is about his limit in terms of, you know, not losing it right there and getting gassed. So you sub him, and sometimes when you do that, he's playing well at those times. You know, we went through this with a lot of the size that we've had. When we stick with them too long, it ends up being counterproductive. You know, they need a break, they need to get there and have energy. I thought he was fabulous the first half against Michigan State, and then he just got gassed where he was done. And for whatever reason, he just, you know, he wasn't effective in the second half. And that's where, you know, he's got to just get those quick 4 to 5 minute spurts and, you know, and keep that energy and keep playing. Like there's nothing besides, in my opinion, you know, that concentration. But, you know, we need the guy who got 10 offensive rebounds at Nebraska. You know, like who doesn't, right? But that's what we need. We need that aggressive on the glass. You know, we need him wanting the basketball inside, you know, and scoring the ball. And I think that really helps, you know, just across the board. It definitely helps TK.
Experience is always good, obviously, but there's also kind of a weight to expectation. In a stretch like this, is your team kind of struggling to find the joy right now, just in basketball?
I think that's fair. I think that happens to any teams that kind of get into a rut, you know, during the season. And almost, you can't say all teams get into a rut, but most teams do. And now, like, you know, how do you get yourself like out of that rut? Like you gotta make your hard work fun. And if you look at it like, you know, what constantly gets said is do your job, right? And you're like, well, if it's not a job, you're supposed to play basketball and have fun with it. But when it gets down to it, if you don't do your job, you're not going to have any fun. And so like now, more discipline you have, the more fun you'll have. And so I think that's us. I think, I wouldn't say it's like absent-minded, but just a loss of concentration at times, like especially like how we're defending certain things. Like you got to concentrate. And when you concentrate and you have that discipline and you're talking and you know that constant communication, that gets contagious, and you're going to have a lot of fun. You got to work your ass off to get out of a rut. And the old saying of if you're tired of the hole you're in, then stop digging, right? Like keep the game simple. And I think that's something from the coaching staff, because we're constantly trying to look at how we handle the post, how we handle ball screen defense, and make adjustments for our personnel to go against their personnel. I think that's the one thing. Like, we have a lot of change there because we have a lot of different styles in our league, and we got to do what's best for us. But at the end of the day, the devil's in the details. You got to carry out the small things there to make things work, because that's what makes things work.
As NIL and rev share, I guess, but mostly NIL has given guys more exposure and allowed them to do things. It also opens them up to more criticism, opens them up to those things. How is that maybe affecting your team right now? And I guess maybe especially in the case of Braden, do you see that being something that's affecting you?
I don't. I think what's been constant through the years is the great players get the most shit. Like, go right down the top 10 players in the NBA and then go look at the criticism that they get. It comes with the territory. And, take it as an honor. He's a really, really good player, and he's preseason National Player of the Year. He's Big Ten Player of the Year. He's consensus first-team All-American. He's had an unbelievable career. But with things and how things go, whether it's fair or not, because a lot of it's not fair, you just can't get caught up into that. Because once again, you're answering to people. Successful people don't beat up successful people, right? Like, you just gave some power to people that don't really exist in our world. The people that exist in our world during games are players, coaches, and refs. That's who exists. That's it. That's it. We proved in COVID that like, hey, we can play these games, and this is the way. That's what's important. Like, who's reffing your game is important. Who you're playing against is important. The makeup of your team, but also, like, you can't allow that to steal your joy. Like, you play basketball because you have fun. Well, it gets hard. It doesn't get easier in late February and early March. It gets harder. Everyone's good. Like, you can look at Northwestern's team and look at their record and look at all that stuff. It doesn't matter. Who Northwestern is the last 6 games. And they've been a damn good team the last 6 games. So, like, that's what you got to lock into. Like, that's the focus. Like, don't worry about all that other stuff, because it doesn't matter. You're giving power to something that doesn't exist. If your shot's struggling, work on your shot. If your concentration, you're struggling with that, watch more film and see where you're shortchanging yourself. Whatever it is, it's fixable. Like, if we didn't have enough talent or we didn't have enough players, like, you'd sit here as a coach and you'd hear a lot of coaches talk, right? That's what you'd hear. But deep down, we don't have enough. Well, we have enough. We're good enough, and he's good enough. And so, like, now, like, take a step back and, decompress and, like, hey, man, like, why do I play this game? I played it to have fun. I played to compete. I played to beat the guy in front of me. Keep it right there. Simplify some things. But, he hasn't, been at his best, but we haven't been at our best. I haven't been at my best. It's part of it. Like, you win them together and you lose them together. Like, no one's pointing a finger in our program. Like, we're trying to find a solution so we can get back on a winning track and play our best basketball at the end. Because that's what they'll remember. They won't remember any of this stuff here. They will remember how we finish. And that's what we got to keep our minds on.
Years ago, you banned, I believe, Twitter within the team, and I don't know how you could even monitor social media with as much as it's exploded.
I thought it was a brilliant move.
But
No, seriously, think about it. Like, everybody, like, shamed me for it. But what helps your team? Like, you're a coach, like, what helps your team? Like, you look like a curmudgeon when you do that, but at the end of the day, is it better for our team to be on Twitter, or is it better for our team not to be on Twitter? I don't think there's anybody out there that would answer that differently. Everybody be like, yeah, if you want to know what's best for basketball, but, like, as that's being said, like, we're going to be done here in a couple minutes. I'm going to walk out, and on the way to, I'm going to check my phone. Like, we all, like that's how we roll. That's how we live. But you got to be able to, not swallow the poison.
is there like an education in place? Because when you're 18 or 19, I think you're probably going to take these things personally. That is a
Right.
very minor part of the fan base that just has a
Yeah.
voice.
But it's also like, I thought Nick Saban summed it up well. Like, if you want everybody to like you, like, sell ice cream, right? You know, you can get those, like the red, white, and blue, or you can get the orange sickle, or you can get a drumstick. Everything would be great. This is competitive basketball. It's the way it is. People are going to blow you shit. The thing that I don't like about it is, like, I think Notre Dame, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio State, like, they should blast us. I don't like when Purdue blasts Purdue. Like, you're not with us there. Like, and it doesn't mean you can't, like, talk the game. Like, that's one thing. But when you get personal and you say things personal about our guys, I got a problem with it. Like, you're like, come on. Like, you're on our side. Like, if Ohio State wants to blast us, good. They're our rivals. Indiana's our rivals. Notre Dame, like that's part of it. They should blast us. They don't like us. They like their team. But when people on our side are doing it too, but we're also giving attention to the people that aren't really our fans. Like, our people that are with us, they bleed with us. Like, we got great fans. And I try to explain that to our guys. Like, those people that you see tweeting, those aren't our guys. Like, when they say personal stuff and do that and read into it, you guys have had questions, and that's where it comes from. You know, I've had national guys text me this stuff. Well, they got to talk about something, right? It gives them a narrative they think is right. Well, that narrative's not right. It's Ohio State was better than Purdue, period. They played better than us. We got to be better. We got to do a better job as coaches. We got to do a better job as players. That's it. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, Matt, just about the camera on, are you pretty sure that things overseas can affect Homer
In terms of,
being called up?
oh, I wouldn't know. You'd have to ask him that. I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know that. Yeah.